Kenny Polcari is with us, senior market strategist, Slate Stone Wealth. And it's a new year, and here we go. I mean, so far, so good. First of all, this is the first down week for the major averages in 4 or 5 weeks that we've seen, right? Depending on which average you look at. We've been at records. What does the year ahead look like? Are you feeling optimistic? If so, why?
You know what? I'm mixed to optimistic, and I think, we, like you just said, we've gotten to these new records, all in anticipation. I think your first guest made the point. It's almost like that buy the rumor, sell the news kind of reaction because, the good earnings, the bank earnings, JP Morgan, BlackRock, Citibank, they're all reporting good numbers, yet the stocks are selling off, right? Because people are ringing the cash register on that. The Biden proposal, right? We've been talking about trillions of dollars now for a couple of weeks. And in fact, what did we get? Almost $2 trillion. If you add in the $900 billion from a month ago, that brings us to $2.7 trillion. And then he's going to promise another trillion sometime in February or March. And so the market, is also expected that. So when the news comes out, you see this back off. I think it's all very healthy. I'd actually like to see the S&P test down at trendline resistance on the S&P, which would be like 3650 for the 50-day moving average. That's about 4% from the high. I think that's healthy. I think it's good for the market to kind of regain some strength. I do see the market improving. But look, we've had this conversation. I think it's going to be this rotation into value. I'm big on the value play this year. And I think you're starting to see that. I mean, look what the Russell has done, right? And look what energy has done. And even look what financials have done as kind of value names. I'm still big on those names. I think you got to be in them. But I think there is, in this first quarter, there's going to still be some bumps ahead of us once we get through the inauguration next week. And then once his administration settles in and you start to get a better clue. What I don't think is going to happen is I don't think we're getting a tax event this year because they're going to be busy. They're pumping so much money into it. They're going to let all that money go in, and then they're going to attack that next year once the economy, rebounds, if it does the way they suspect, that the tax event will be in 2022. So I don't expect you're going to have this tax overhang immediately in 2021.
Right. Well, there's already been talk about some of the corporate taxes changing. Are you referring more to the individual taxes or corporate taxes as well? Because I heard this morning.
Yeah, no, I was referring more to the individual tax rate, the federal tax rate for us. But corporate taxes, in fact, if they go up at all, I don't think they're going up. If they go back to, what were they talking, 27%, I think. Is that what you heard?
I didn't hear the exact number, but it was more about that we should raise taxes on corporations who've had a free ride. The idea behind the better tax rate was to have the companies stay here and not go to other countries where they get better rates and keep the jobs here. Now the idea is to keep them here, but also have them pay. Biden said something, it's only fair. Let's move on. I wanted to ask you about,
No, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you about some picking of stocks and making money. You mentioned value. There's a value ETF. You could do it that way. I don't know what your thoughts are on FANG, for example, or SMH, the semiconductor index has pulled back. Where are you going to make the money?
I would listen. FANG is great, but once again, everyone gets so caught up in FANG, and we've had this conversation before. I think there are way other parts of the tech industry. So the cybersecurity space, the artificial intelligence space, in the energy space, there's clean energy and solar, right? And there's the semis. I think is a good place to look for opportunity in the tech space, but not in the FANG names, right? Because the FANG names, listen, Google might be a core holding, Apple might be a core holding, but I think that there's more opportunity outside of those names in some of the sectors that I just mentioned. I think cybersecurity is going to be a big play this year just because there's so much going on around. We've seen violations and we've seen more and more nervousness kind of around technology and who gets in and who gets out and who gets hacked and doesn't get hacked.
Right.
And I think cybersecurity is going to be a big play this year. So you can play that with the hack.
So cybersecurity, you said cybersecurity, you said solar was another area that you like.
5G.
AI.
5G because, we talked about the Internet of Things, right? Everything that keeps us connected via our watches or the cars to the house or the Nest to the refrigerator, telling you when you need milk, when you need meat, when you need carrots. All this stuff that connects the world is all going to be connected through also 5G. So I think that's a space where you're going to find opportunity.
Right. What about some of the things that are off the beaten path, not just regular equities like we're so used to? Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been very popular. Do you like Bitcoin, or you don't touch that?
Bitcoin. No. So actually, you know what? I was a big anti-Bitcoiner, a year ago, anti-Bitcoiner a year ago, not really seeing it, but I have since come around a little bit, understanding that it is probably going to start to change the world, and so I'm dipping my toe in. But I'm not. You can't really time it. It's way too volatile. So all I'm doing is just consistently investing the same amount, so just dollar cost averaging as I go in, without necessarily going all in at one level. I'm just spreading out, and I'm going to see where it takes us. But I do think, Bitcoin
when are you going to sell, though? Okay, I like the dollar cost averaging idea. It does give you the highs and lows, but when do you sell then?
I'm not necessarily sure I'm going to sell it, right? I mean, if you listen to Mikey Novogratz, it's going to be $500,000 at this time next year. So when am I going to sell it? I'm just going to dollar cost average it. And listen, and I'm doing it in a methodical way, and I'll see where it takes me. It's not a huge part. It's not a huge part of my portfolio, nor do I think it should be a huge part of anyone's portfolio at the moment. Maybe Mikey Novogratz is going to 100% in.
Right. And I think you're having fun, and I like that you have the ability to change, right? And learn new things and give it a go, okay? So kudos to you for that. Talk about some of the areas that were beaten down. You talked about the resurgence of strength in some of the retailers. I know we have e-commerce, which is a big deal, and shopping online and fintech and things like that. And then there's the airlines, cruise lines, hospitality, anything in that whole category I mentioned that you would definitely buy into.
Listen, anything, certainly in kind of the leisure, whether it's airlines, whether it's travel, whatever. Those are, once we come through this pandemic, and we've talked about this a number of times, and everyone's kind of talking. People are so tired of being clamped down and held down that they're bursting to get out. And so, in that sense, I do believe once we get through this vaccine and we see people that are taking it, and we're building this herd immunity, that I think that will come roaring back. So yes, as long as you're ready to kind of be patient and ride the wave. I don't think it's coming back tomorrow, but if you get in at the right time, if you get at the right prices and you're willing to wait, then I think yes, that trade takes off. I think things like iBuy, which is, I put that in my note this morning, the ETF IBUY, which is all about online retailing and versus in-store retailing, right? That has had a fantastic year. I think it's going to continue to have a fantastic year because look, I think the world clearly has changed and it keeps changing every day. But I don't think we're going back 100% to the way we were. And so therefore, I think these are all interesting opportunities that people should be kind of looking at.
All right, Kenny Polcari, it's always great to talk to you. Come back soon, and we'll regroup and take a look at the market, particularly after the inauguration. Thank you. Happy New Year to you. Happy, healthy. Kenny Polcari, Senior Market Strategist, Slate Stone Wealth. Always love chatting with him.